Marvel's Avengers is easily the first game of the new decade that proves humanity deserves to at least survive to 2030. Mind you, not for anything it achieves gameplay-wise, but because for once, everyone who took one look at this game seems to have been of one mind and come to the same conclusion that it looks a bit shit. I don't recall reading even a single article or watching a non-sponsored video on it before launch that didn't come with at least partial warnings. It was a bit like applying the warning labels on cigarettes that tell you smoking while pregnant may cause birth defects, which coincidentally, I suspect this game is capable of as well. I couldn't even find many naysayers playing devil's advocate telling everyone to wait for the game to come out before judging it. Everyone was perfectly fine trusting instinct on this one. After all, the human brain is very good at threat detection. Marvel's Avengers might as well have come with a snake curled up inside of the disc case if the fight or flight response it triggers in you to fling it away and jump backwards is anything to go by. This is even more impressive in the times we live in where it has become very easy to fool potential buyers with slick trailers and a big name. Marvel's Avengers design document must have looked something like an anglerfish, with a bright glowing lure in front of its gaping maw. Every bit of its design drips with corporate decision-making and algorithms, all designed to reel you in and keep you there spending money.
We see it all around us more and more every day. People with power punching down.
Let's start our game with just a dash of modern political rhetoric. After all, who better to represent the downtrodden than genetically enhanced superhumans, godlike men and a genius billionaire, all packaged and sold to you by a huge multi-billion-dollar corporation.
Why call it the Golden Gate Bridge if it's not golden?
You might think this dad joke is on the nose, since he is a dad after all, but I assure you, all the game's writing is on the same level. Playing Marvel's Avengers is like finding out your dad is your substitute teacher for the day, and he spends the entire class trying to make jokes with you and your friends.
We are all unique, Kamala. You should be proud of who you are.
You spend most of the game playing as Kamala Khan, the diversity princess Scrappy-Doo of the Avengers, since she spends the entire game fangirling over how incredible the Avengers are, and the Avengers weirdly show her the same favor, reminding her about how awesome she is in light of anything to actually prove that claim. She even begins the game as a finalist in an Avengers fan fiction contest, which as far as superhero origin stories go, is one I would pray for a universe-ending crossover event just to wipe it away and retcon it. If the main event of this convention is a fanfiction contest, I would demand my money back. Speaking of money, there's a lot of Avengers merchandise and licensing going on here, and I have to wonder if the individual Avengers get a cut of the sales for using their likeness, and how does monetization affect their public image, and just who is in charge of running the merch operation.
Make sure to check out our comic scavenger hunt. Collect all 5 and get access to the VIP balcony.
She's a finalist in the contest. Why does she need to do a scavenger hunt to get VIP access? Thor appears from the sky in the middle of a convention for the Avengers, and doesn't attract the attention of anyone except Kamala.
What atrocity is this?
That's the voice of Travis Willingham, once again playing an authority figure in a uniform.
Apologies. You are very small and hard to see. There is no need to cower before a son of Odin, though I understand the impulse.
Given the setting, Kamala's age and character, and you have actually brought the real Avengers in your story down to the same level as Disneyland mascots taking photos with tourists. It also doesn't help that their character designs fit into the uncanny valley between the movie versions and the actors you would book for your kid's birthday party. You're in the middle of a crowded convention full of children. Summoning Mjolnir to you could have killed someone.
Whosoever holds this hammer, if she be worthy.
No, you had it right the first time. Unless Thor is one butch lady.
I can't believe I just met the God of Thunder. Mind blown.
Shouldn't your religion be blown? Because you and your father are Pakistani Muslims, and you just met a god.
This is so cool.
You're in the way.
I'm sorry.
This contest should only be for the real fans.
Hey, what makes you think I'm not a real fan?
They threw in an anti-gatekeeping message for some reason. This only makes sense if we're discussing fans of fictional characters. The Avengers are real in this world, yet they're talked about the same way fans discuss movies and comics.
And the mob, and the press, and the whole world tell you to move. You plant yourself like a tree beside the river of truth, and you say no. You move.
Kamala is quoting Captain America's famous line from the Civil War comics. Did the superhero Civil War take place in the Marvel game universe? Considering the plot of this game somewhat borrows elements of the Civil War storyline, where a horrible accident is blamed on superheroes who are then outlawed, I have to guess that there was no prior Civil War. So Kamala shouldn't be quoting it. And who published something Captain America said in private to Spider-Man? Captain America shows up, and just like with Thor, his presence doesn't draw the attention of fans. I've seen YouTubers swarmed by thousands of people at conventions, and yet the Avengers can't get anyone but Kamala to pay any attention to them at their own event.
You're a Captain Marvel fan. She's off planet, but she would have liked to meet you.
And she will remain off planet for the next several years because she doesn't appear in this game. I would send Black Widow not drawing a crowd either, but come on, she's the one I can actually buy no one caring about.
Hey, that thing you had me do with the storm drain cover? Pretty badass.
I mean, it's nothing compared to what happened between you and Madame Hydra. That was wild.
Are the comics treated as documentaries in this universe? Kamala keeps referencing them, so I assume the events depicted actually happened. That's a weird way of doing this no matter how you look at it.
Dartigan was meant for the people, not some toy for billionaires.
If you meant for Dartigan to be used to improve the lives of the people, then your first mistake was working with Tony Stark. That bastard is sitting on near unlimited power sources and nanotechnology, tech that would reshape the world for the better, and he keeps it to himself so he can have the shiniest toys.
Nothing. It's some little thing. We're just getting some strange readings off the reactor.
Troy Baker is Bruce Banner, and with Tony Stark being voiced by Nolan North and Black Widow being played by Laura Bailey, that means this game has to have some of the most uninspired voice casting I've ever seen. They probably had an intern look up who had the longest list of voice acting credits on IMDb.
The Chimera is powered by a new mineral, Terrigen. 3 years ago, I found a strange rock, yes, in the San Francisco Bay.
I would imagine you would have no trouble finding strange rocks in San Francisco Bay, but the only thing they power is your downfall, which is exactly what they do here, so maybe I'm not too far off base with that one.
Sounds pretty big for an accident.
There are no accidents.
Yes, there are, especially on roadways. But it is the Golden Gate Bridge the explosion just occurred on, so they likely have past history to go by. You get to control all the Avengers and Kamala during this game, and in all honesty, the only one that plays well is Kamala. Perhaps it was the difficulty of trying to create 6 different playstyles. I say 6, but in reality there are only 3, since Captain America and Black Widow might as well be the same character, and the same goes for Thor and Iron Man and Hulk and Kamala. Taskmaster is one of precisely 3 villains they use in this game, and after this tutorial is over, he is gone for good. The only thing that is destroyed more often than the Golden Gate Bridge in games is the helicopter in the opening cutscene. I like this fight better when it was Batman going up against Firefly in Arkham Origins.
5 years ago, the Avengers paraded dangerous, untested technology causing damage on an unprecedented scale. Our beloved Captain America was killed during the attempted theft of this technology. Thousands of other innocent people died, and many more still bear the scars of what has come to be known as A-Day.
I don't doubt that the Avengers share some of the blame for the genius idea of sticking a glowing rock inside of an air carrier, but did everyone forget about the terrorist attack on the Golden Gate Bridge that used a small army and a weapon of mass destruction? Taskmaster was even captured. Did no one question him?
Hundreds fell sick, encased in strange cocoons, only to emerge with dangerous, otherworldly powers.
We have the discount-looking Avengers, and now the discount X-Men. The only thing that isn't discount with this game yet is the price, but I get the feeling you won't be waiting long for that one.
It was Dr. Banner's testimony that brought about the end of an era.
With Banner's testimony, the government shut down the Avengers, but for some reason didn't arrest any of them despite blaming them for the complete destruction of a US city, countless deaths, and a superpower pandemic.
After the government liquidation of Stark Industries, Dr. George Tarleton, himself a victim of A-Day and founder of Advanced Idea Mechanics, thinks science is the solution to our nation's problems.
Tarleton was also the inventor of the Terrigen reactor that blew up and caused a disaster. No one placed any blame on him, and then they put him in charge of a paramilitary group tasked with curing the Inhumans. They even let him project Messiah-like holograms, because everyone only has one functioning brain cell and is incapable of causation. I think it's in your story's best interest to move your main character beyond a very simple characterization, in this case, Avengers Simp. But 5 years later, and the only difference in Kamala is that her fanfiction is likely now hosted on sites you have to agree to being 18 or over before viewing. Kamala finds a thread on Reddit inviting people to guess the password of an old backdoor named Systems from when it was still Stark Industries. There is no worse way to hack a computer system than crowdsourcing it on a public and popular social media website that anyone can view. Not only would AIM likely be notified of all the attempted logins, but they could see the thread and quickly close the security hole. Tony Stark's password is a phrase he said in public and is well known enough to be on the posters in Kamala's room. He didn't even use two-factor authentication. Good thing AIM doesn't keep more than 512 megabytes of data on their private server so it can all easily fit on a flash drive.
I know I got something.
No, you have a corrupted file since your computer glowed purple and then you unplugged it in the middle of a download. You don't even know if anything you might have downloaded could be of interest, but this is enough for Kamala to decide to put her life in danger. You can tell this game was made by the same dev behind the recent Tomb Raider games by the amount of white paint splashed everywhere to signal a climbing spot. The only thing Kamala downloaded was a video file that shows the supposed last moments of Captain America inside the helicarrier with the Terrigen crystal and Dr. Tarleton, who later claimed he was on the command deck when it blew. This file is security footage from that helicarrier, meaning someone moved the file to Tony's server, and Tony never bothered logging into it these past 5 years. All Kamala did was play a video file she downloaded from the server on a different computer and in a different location. You can't track someone opening an MP4 file. What was Tiny Dancer's plan if the person who guessed the password didn't live in Jersey City? If Kamala can figure out that the last known resistance base is somewhere in Utah, then AIM could as well.
Stop! I said stop!
Give her. She's one of them!
Question: how do you tell the difference between an inhuman and superpowered non-inhumans? Monica just knew Kamala would come out of this particular sewer grate and was waiting on her.
Forgive me. I know I don't quite compare to my holographic counterpart, but it's a nice trick for the shareholders.
Why would you reveal that you have a superpower to a random girl who you know took a video that throws your testimony into doubt? Now she has even more information on you.
Why did you hack our servers?
I didn't steal anything.
Then what were you looking for?
Did it never occur to you to check her bag and pockets after you tased her? They didn't take the USB drive from Kamala.
She is clearly violent. Her infection must be getting worse.
If you think that, why did you put her in the vehicle with you with no restraints and no protection for yourselves? In fact, explain why the two people in charge of AIM felt the need to personally have a chat with Kamala. She's just a girl who hacked a file that doesn't even prove anything.
I can't go home. I'll make Abu, they'll punish them for hiding me.
This is why superheroes wear masks. Kamala, being a fangirl of them, should have known that.
Utah. The old shield base. The Resistance has to know what to do.
Or you could put the file up online on the Reddit group r/resistance that you were browsing before so everyone can see it, including any members of the Resistance that might be checking it. Just like the platforming in Tomb Raider, Crystal Dynamics utilizes their old bag of tricks of having everything Kamala jumps on collapse underneath of her like the world is made out of Pringles chips. I guess the bus driver has no questions about a girl stomping on her SIM card before boarding the bus out of the city.
A few more doses of my regenerative formula, and your treatment will be complete.
Tarleton actually buys this from Monica despite what her regenerative formula is doing to him. Not only is there a payphone out here, a teenage girl knows how to use it. I don't see why anyone is having a hard time finding the Resistance if they were working out of a downed helicarrier in the middle of what looks like a national park in Utah. I would think something of that size, and with the kind of technology on board, would be very hard to lose track of. You could spot the thing in satellite photos. These AIM robots find Kamala at the helicarrier, so AIM should know her location along with Bruce Banner's, but they never come after them here.
How long have you been here?
A few years.
If there is a young female lead in a game these days, you can expect Troy Baker to be their surrogate father with a dark past, portraying him with all the exasperated angst of a father trying to keep his little girl from working as a stripper.
I think you should see for yourself.
The last time Kamala plugged in that USB drive and watched the file, AIM and Tiny Dancer were alerted to her location. No such thing happens this time.
But this proves that Tarleton was nowhere near the command deck when the explosion happened. This proves he was lying.
Do you want to mention that Tarleton has a gross swollen head and that he can control machines with his mind?
What if the Avengers were set up?
The Avengers should have actually known that was the case. Taskmaster hinted at that after they beat him. Did Black Widow never mention that during the hearings?
Look at you. Look at what we did.
Oh no, you gave her incredible powers that in no way decrease her quality of life. What a travesty. 50 whole seconds of Kamala and Bruce sitting in silence and slurping soda while driving.
Bit of tight squeeze.
In no way is that a tight squeeze.
So what does Jarvis actually look like?
Like an outdated hard drive from 1998?
Okay, new question. What does a 1998 hard drive look like?
A hard drive from 1998 doesn't look that different from a hard drive from today. You can't claim ignorance of old tech when that tech is still widely used in most computers. This is the same girl who had no trouble with payphones. Kamala inspects everything on this desk except for the pile of hard drives, then notices a hard drive booting up inside an old computer for no reason. Abomination is the other of three villains that make an appearance in this game. Like Taskmaster, he gets his boss fight with the Hulk and then that's the end of him. Then you're stuck fighting waves of robots for the rest of the game until the final boss. Is this game tempting you yet? Where did Bruce Banner find that shield jacket at the bottom of this AIM facility, and a new pair of glasses that match his prescription?
Hold on, something is wrong, Dr. Banner.
That's not good.
Oh dear. It appears my neural uplink was damaged when the Chimera crashed. It's highly specific shield technology.
This is where that whole games as service starts, but it's also a grind the game adds in to lengthen the plot without putting much meat on the table, so it's off to find a neural uplink in an uninspired level against uninspired enemies while collecting loot that doesn't even appear on your character. I'm waiting for Bruce Banner to point out that sending a 16-year-old girl into combat situations is pretty questionable. He's supposed to be the serious one of the group who has misgivings about the Avengers after A-Day. The perfect outfit for Siberian weather. So AIM can just set up shop somewhere in Russia no problem? I don't believe a tragedy that occurred on US soil would mean Russia is suddenly open to housing foreign corporate troops on its soil. Most missions are little more than running around a large and empty environment while standing on control points for a set amount of time. This is a multiplayer objective. Tell me again how a game that is designed for multiplayer and microtransactions doesn't have its single-player campaign affected by that.
In the meantime, I've uncovered something that might be of interest to Ms. Khan in the harm room.
The what now?
The holographic augmented reality machine. Something the Avengers use for training.
It's not the danger room, it's the harm room. They do the exact same thing, but the use of a different noun makes it completely different. Sort of like using the word inhuman instead of X-Men.
Mr. Stark's last known location is his ancestral home, Golden Acres. You may be able to find a clue to his current whereabouts there.
It took an advanced artificial intelligence to come up with a possibility that Tony Stark might be at home. You quickly begin to notice that this game is full of bugs, like Kamala phasing through this gate instead of going through the opening, and oftentimes AI teammates will run in place, unable to figure out that a knee-high wall is in front of them. The most impressive bug I encountered was later in the game when my entire AI team would fight a non-existent and invisible enemy for several minutes. I wasn't even mad. The bugs were single-handedly the best moments of enjoyment I had playing through this game. Is punching Banner the smartest thing to do when you don't even have an Iron Man suit on hand?
Yeah, you're damn right you deserved it. Do the Avengers pose a danger to society? That was the question, Bruce. That was the question.
It's rather bizarre having Tony Stark play this role after his actions in Civil War, which this game already referenced.
I can't.
You can't what? You're ditching me?
Troy Baker's Bruce Banner is becoming remarkably similar to Troy Baker's Joel Miller.
So, unless you have some kind of astounding proof, I suggest you both get off my land. What is that?
Proof.
From your own server that you apparently never checked.
Son of a...
I know, it's incomplete. There's a whole folder on AIM's server.
No, there's more here.
What?
Yeah, look, it's smart. They encrypted it to look like a corrupt file. Need a few hours, I'll get all the rest.
Why would AIM encrypt a file to look like a corrupt file instead of just encrypting it so no one could watch it? And despite the fake corruption, it still lets you watch the first minute of it. Tiny Dancer once again somehow knows when this file is being viewed and warns them that AIM knows and is coming for them. That didn't happen when Bruce checked it on his computer earlier.
When I was young, I found an orphaned wolf cub in the forest behind our farm.
What?
Dad said it was too dangerous. He told me to get rid of it.
Villain has childhood story about learning a traumatic yet important lesson that guides his views to this very day.
We need him.
You do? Because Abomination never shows up again, unless he's in one of those side ops I never bothered with.
Okay, we gotta get this bird airborne.
Excuse me?
AIM knows it's here, so it needs to not be here when they get here.
They are taking their sweet time getting here then. AIM launched an attack on Tony's home the moment they knew Kamala was there.
Well, in the meantime, I need a new suit. Where can I find parts to repair the fabrication unit?
Since Tony goes on this mission with an older suit, you would expect it to perform worse than the new one he builds, since that's the entire point. But the suits are just skins, so his old suit is just as good, and you can even decide to keep wearing it if you want. Banner is capable of finding a shield jacket to wear no matter where he hulks out at, even in a desert.
A kid and an old guy. Alright. Dr. Pym will see you now.
Apparently Hank Pym knows that anyone described as old guy must be Bruce Banner, even though Bruce doesn't look that old. The only people affected by Terrigen gas are all under the age of 20, judging by the Inhumans that man is hidden inside his base. Your first mission upon finding an entire hidden enclave of Inhumans right after Kamala whined about there not being any other Inhumans resisting, is to wander around their base and meet all the vendors who exist only to entice you to spend more money and time on the game. And they all have a jaded response if you exit their menus without buying anything. And this is actually the second time the game has done this. Earlier, a bunch of S.H.I.E.L.D. agents took up shop inside the Chimera and had the gall to charge money while living in someone else's house.
We deliver a cure. You control the media.
And we've more than held up our end, but this cure of yours? Children being ripped away from their families? People missing? Even my resources have their limits. The public needs answers.
I'm giving you something better. The launch of the adaptoids will be the perfect distraction.
So to distract from your illegal experimentation on children, you are going to launch a series of robots that only exist because you somehow took the powers away from said children and put them into the robots. This isn't exactly an iPhone launch where people can go out and buy one. Tiny Dancer was actually Black Widow. Why she didn't join up with Kamala and the others despite knowing their location is something I can't explain, and the game can't either.
I'm going home. To Jersey. I don't know who I was kidding. I'm no hero.
I don't know, I got a Quinjet full of people who would disagree with you.
You know Kamala's a 16-year-old girl, right? Why would you try to talk her out of going home? That's the best thing she could be doing. You're the one who got her involved in something way over her head, which led to her being captured by AIM and brought to this facility where they experiment on and kill inhumans.
The AIM experience in Manhattan. The media launch for Tarleton's new adaptoids. Every network will be there. I think it would be a perfect place for a few dozen missing Inhumans to suddenly reappear.
Do you people not understand the idea of documenting the piles of evidence you have against AIM and sharing it with the public?
Scour the earth. You will not find our lab.
Not a great idea to drop hints about the location of your secret lab while telling them they will never find it.
Jarvis?
Sensors detect AIM forces incoming.
I thought the whole point of getting the Chimera flying again was so Tarleton couldn't find it, yet he launches a large-scale attack on the helicarrier right after they get it moving. After being blamed for the deaths of countless people and the destruction of San Francisco, someone actually hired Thor for a day job.
George, we have to shut down the reactor. It's pulling us towards that heat signature.
I've tried, but there's no way to disengage the crystal.
Then get out and seal the door.
What?
George, go.
If the full video actually backed up everything Tarleton testified to, why was he and all of AIM trying to get the footage back? After Jarvis finishes decrypting the video file, they can all finally see the whole truth. Even if the video supports Tarleton's version of the events, he is still responsible for capturing and killing Inhumans to take their powers. But the Avengers see this as game over. Even Black Widow, who got all this started, up and leaves once Bruce and Tony start arguing. Even the captured Inhumans and S.H.I.E.L.D. agents that were on board are gone despite the air carrier never landing to let anyone off, leaving Kamala all alone on the Chimera by herself.
Live on the scene here in Manhattan.
This reporter claims he's speaking from Manhattan, but with the background it looks more like he's somewhere in Utah.
I just want to talk to my dad.
Calling Yusuf Khan.
No, don't, Jarvis, I didn't mean to.
Jarvis was designed with less user-friendly functionality than Siri.
People believe in the Avengers. Not just because of your cool powers, but because no matter how bad things get, no matter how much you disagree, you always come together.
The Hulk was so moved by that speech, he managed to catch back up with the Chimera and jump up to it thousands of feet in the sky. Bruce de-hulked right on top of that jacket this time.
It was a S.H.I.E.L.D. biomedical research project. AIM must have required it during the takeover.
It would be a great place to hide proof of inhuman experiments, right?
If you wanted to study Inhumans on the cellular level, then zero gravity would be a perfect place to do it.
Space is actually a poor place to study cells unless you are studying the effects of microgravity on cellular biology. You see, we evolved inside a gravity well and are adapted to it. Microgravity is a foreign environment that causes detrimental changes in biology over time. And this ends up being a misnomer anyway, because a space station has artificial gravity. In order to get to space to investigate the station, Tony needs some of Ant-Man's PIM particles to shrink a piece of technology down for the acceleration. However, later I went on a side mission that also sends you to a space station using an orbital elevator. I'm not sure why they couldn't have just used that. Tony designed a suit that could launch him into orbit, but launching a person into orbit is only half the problem. There needs to be a way for the person to re-enter the atmosphere safely as well, and I don't see any heat shielding on Tony's suit that could survive re-entry. Everything about this space station is wrong. It's inspired by the International Space Station, which is made of modular pieces built on Earth, then launched and assembled in space. Except this space station's modules are so big they would fit on no rocket in existence, and the interior is also based on the ISS, with storage lining the station's interior hull. But that only makes sense in microgravity, where there is no such thing as a floor or ceiling, and you can float around and use every surface. But this station has artificial gravity, so no one can even reach the storage on the walls. There are also no staff on board this giant station. Just robots. Why would you need so much life support and room if it's unoccupied? Captain America's defining character trait is quickly becoming how long he's kept on ice.
Self-destruct sequence initiated.
Why is every self-destruct system on a damn timer? How difficult is it to make a self-destruct system that just goes boom the moment you press a button? There was an escape pod on this station that was filled with nothing but robots and one prisoner on ice. A space station of that size being destroyed in orbit means Kessler syndrome is going to knock out every satellite in near-Earth orbit and keep any humans from reaching orbit for the next several decades. If the Avengers' reputation was trash before, it's going to be unrepairable now.
Why'd you smash the reactor, Cap?
Tony, there was something buried deep beneath the bay. Somehow linked to the reactor, working its way to the surface every minute.
It's the earthquake.
I had to do something. The entire San Andreas fault was about to blow.
The ocean would have consumed the city. Millions would have died.
Something coming up out of the ground would not cause a fault line to explode. That's not how fault lines work. And later, the thing Cap is talking about comes up anyway, and the fault line doesn't react at all.
Well, look who it is. Am I always going to save the day?
I'm not going to bother asking why Thor can breathe and even talk in the vacuum of space. I just assume if I did, someone would pipe up in the comments with an explanation from the comics. I'm willing to believe they would come up with something to explain that, but that doesn't mean I'm going to let it slide, because whatever the reason, I would find it dumb.
I trusted you.
I saved your life. You can control machines with your mind. Just think of all the...
You infected me with his blood.
So you figured your technokinesis was, what, completely natural? Superpowers seem like a pretty clear-cut definition to me. They're anything that a normal human doesn't have. I don't know why it took Tarleton so long to figure out Monica's formula came from Captain America's blood. His name is written on the vials.
This morning, the heads of all major military agencies were held under duress by AIM's new adaptoids. Panic erupted when many awoke to large AIM gunships hovering above our major cities.
Well, that does away with any of the difficulties the Avengers might have had clearing their names and casting AIM as the villains. According to the game, this geographical image depicts Manhattan. Ah yes, the famous mountains and verdant forests of Manhattan. This AIM dropship is releasing altered Terrigen gas that kills Inhumans, though Kamala doesn't seem to be having any issue breathing it.
Well, if we're going into battle with our big-headed friends Death Fortress, Robot Army, and the flotilla of warships, we might as well look good doing it.
Maybe build some substance instead of style into those suits, because despite Tony making them, they had no new defenses or offensive capabilities.
Aren't you gonna say the thing?
What?
You know, Avengers assemble.
Yeah, we don't really say that.
So where did people get the idea of you saying it then?
We made a mistake, George.
Don't call me that. George failed. MODOK won't.
So what's the reason for going with the name MODOK? That was an acronym for mental organism designed only for killing in the comics when his origin was a bit different.
What is that thing?
A Kree sentry.
You can call it that if you want, but to me it's a dead ringer for a Sentinel robot. Considering the Inhumans are just standing in for the X-Men here, I see this Kree sentry as much the same. I was sort of hoping to control Kamala during her embiggen moment, but it's just a QTE fight. If God of War was capable of doing this nearly 2 decades ago, I don't see what Crystal Dynamics' excuse is. Kamala shrinks down in the middle of the bay and falls unconscious. She should have drowned in the bay considering the Avengers are out of commission at the moment.
You know you're grounded till you're 30, yes?
Yes.
Good. From now on, nothing but school. And your special field trips.
I don't care how loving they depict Kamala's dad. Any father who will continue to let his 16-year-old daughter go on dangerous missions with superheroes is a bad father. And the Avengers are pretty crappy too for letting her join. Unless Kamala created that photo in Photoshop, it shouldn't exist, because she never took a group shot with the Avengers back on A-Day. Sequel baiting. Or DLC baiting. Either way, they think you're a sucker.
Turning players into payers.